Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and everybody on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You guys saw yesterday us get kicked off of MOT today live. It happens to us sometimes. You know, we're an hour and a half into the live stream, and then boom, suspended. It is what it is. We just keep on rolling. We got to make backup channels because we're trying to get out the truth. We're trying to have good conversations that are very hard to find elsewhere, which sets us apart from pretty much any podcast or any media platform you'll see. But yeah, so we are now on MOT Media's TikTok page that just hit over 1,000 followers yesterday. Awesome stuff. And we have quite a few things to cover. First off, the main thing that I really want to talk about has to do with your boy Bill Gates and the Georgia Guidestones. But I want to stick with Bill Gates first. So the House Agricultural Committee, I believe, is attempting to have Bill Gates come testify in front of them for his land purchases. This right here is an article from Fox News. It says, House Agriculture Committee member wants Bill Gates to testify over massive farm purchases. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard Bill Gates is buying enormous amounts of land and is the largest private farm owner, I believe, in the country, and has a total of 270,000 acres of land. And he just finished purchasing a huge piece of land in North Dakota, which some are accusing him of breaking the law and doing that purchase. However, the purchase still went through despite the legal challenge. And this is what Representative Dusty Johnson, that's a weird name, Dusty Johnson. That's a very weird name. But anyway, he says, he may say that it sounds pretty amazing. It sounds pretty disgusting to me. We can, what's it say? We can let the free market work. Maybe he's got a product that will end up being great. I kind of doubt it. It will never be great American beef. But the problem is that he doesn't just want to serve the marketplace. He wants to oppose values. Yes, Bill Gates has said that no American should be eating red meat. This is what a representative said. I'm not saying this. This is what the representative Dusty Johnson had to say. In fact, he said that in developed countries, nobody should be eating beef unless it's grown in a laboratory. He has an interest in imposing those kinds of values, and the fact he's sapping up all this land makes me curious. What in the world is he going to do with the land? And this is the reason why he wants Bill Gates to come and explain what he's going to be doing with the property which he has purchased. And this, whether you agree with Bill Gates or not and his land purchasing and his view on meat, which, yes, Bill Gates is, if I'm not mistaken, attempting to bolster the synthetic food market and promote it, right, with synthetic breast milk, synthetic lab-grown meats. This is a big industry. So probably a lot of his farms will cater to something like this, and probably insect farming too. However, the issue is this. The land, as far as I know, is owned by private companies or Bill Gates, who's a private citizen. And so they are private property, these lands. And with Congress getting involved in this, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong in my interpretation. But it does seem like an attack on private property, because if they have Bill Gates come testify in front of Congress because he wanted to buy up some land, for whatever reason he wanted to purchase it rather. Well, now you're calling into question, do you have to ask large land buyers to come to Congress and testify and say what they're going to do on their private property? So this is very suspicious to me. I'm dubious of the whole thing because it is a Republican who is proposing this. And this would seem something that would fall more in line with the Democratic Party, the leftists. However, it's a Republican who's attempting to get this through, I believe. I believe he's a Republican. Let me just make sure. Yeah, a Republican from South Dakota. And so when we're doing this, I mean, you're just attacking your property rights, in my opinion. From what I understand, from what's going on in the article here and all the news, it could be an attack on private property. And so The reason it's kind of interesting that it's a Republican is, once again, I've already stated that it would be more likely to be a Democrat. However, this just shows you that they are two wings of the same bird. The right wing and the left wing are two wings of the same eagle. They're not very different from one another. And so if what I think we're seeing is true, so basically this is what I think we're witnessing right now. The right is coming after land rights under the guise of protecting the American citizens from this grand conspiracy of the Great Reset, right? Because Bill Gates is alleged to be a part of it. With that, you are sacrificing property rights. So they're a good Trojan horse. This is maybe almost like a Trojan horse that the Republicans are going after Bill Gates for this particular case. So I don't think it's a good thing at all. Just like I don't think what happened with the Georgia Guidestones is a good thing either, because that is also an attack on private property. And it's aimed at what group of people? It's aimed at the conservatives, the Republicans, the conspiracy theorists, the truthers. These people are there cheering it on when they should be the biggest proponents of property rights. But the support for this is going to allow for the media and the controllers, if you will, to shift public consciousness to accept the elimination of private property rights. And they're going to do it by using bad guys like Bill Gates and using model, like the Georgia Guidestones, which are supposed to be so, evil. And so they're essentially, in my opinion, using these things to make the loss of property rights palatable for Republicans. So keep an eye on that, because I do think that there is an attack on private property rights. The Georgia Guidestone one, that isn't it I recommend everybody go check out Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin is a very smart, funny man. He's a comedian, been banned. Everything that Dave Chappelle is being banned for right now, I mean, he's basically stealing Owen Benjamin jokes and getting banned for him. But anyway, he's the one who first proposed the private property being attacked from the Georgia Guidestone standpoint. And then I saw this thing regarding Bill Gates and him purchasing all this land, and then a Republican representative wants to have him testify in front of Congress to explain why he's buying this land. So you combine the two together, and it seems like the two perfect vessels to redirect the energy to try and abolish this private property or call into question private property. And very interesting. Keep your eyes on that. I think this is going to be something that has a significant role as time goes on. The other thing that I really wanted to touch on is going to be the fact that Hillary Clinton is allegedly going to be running for president again in 2024. Rumors are circulating right now that she's going to be running in 2024. And this just shows you how desperate the Democrats are, right? The Democrats are super desperate if they can't find anybody else to replace good old Uncle Joe, because as we know, good old Uncle Joe came down with the cough and sniffles. And there's many rumors coming out now that Kamala Harris is going to step in and take his place for the rest of the term. Yeah, we heard this before. Don't know. We'll wait and see. I said something along those lines months ago, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it. And I think that what we're just going to see is a change in the seat in the presidency once the election comes around in 2024. But what we may be witnessing is a rematch of 2016, right, with Donald Trump and also Hillary Clinton. But it's just very sad that the Democrats have nobody else to really offer. This is like their big name. There may be some other people to offer, but nobody has the charisma. Nobody has the swag. Nobody has the leadership capabilities to step in and fill that role, it appears, in the Democratic Party. I'm not saying the Republicans are much better, but come on, you can't doubt it. Trump has the charisma. Trump has the leadership qualities, and he is very polarizing, which is a good thing actually in politics, because it gives you so much attention. It gives you attention from both poles, whether it be the lovers or the haters. You're just getting total magnification and amplification of your brand when you are an individual that can draw from both sides of the polls. That's awesome. He has this complete circus, the positive and negative. He's just like an energy battery. He's just like a battery, right? Just sucking up all the energy from around him. Very, very, very hard to beat. We'll see if he wins in 2024. I tend to think that he will win, but he is going to have some competition. Unlike the Democrats, I don't know who they're going to propose, right? Because nobody really likes Kamala Harris. Nobody really likes Joe Biden. As a matter of fact, the Democratic leadership is like, yo, you should not be running in 2024, right? You just shouldn't be doing that. And people now are just accepting his gaffes as, oh, it's just Biden, right? This is who we got. This is who it is. And nobody likes Kamala Harris, right? She ran in 2020, failed miserably, but then got selected to be the vice president, which had everybody talking about the fact that Joe Biden may be out the door, Kamala may come in and replace him. This has been talked about since the beginning of their presidency, Biden's presidency. People have been speculating for quite some time that Kamala may come in and take his place. Maybe. We'll see. It's very possible. I don't see the opposite of a woman getting elected as president the opposite is man getting elected as president anytime soon in the United States. So maybe that's the pathway for a female presidency, is through the vice presidency. And then their president, gives power or assumes power to the vice president, who at the time would be a woman. So we'll see exactly what's going on, but it's not looking so good for Uncle Joe. And the other thing that you should be keeping an eye on as well is the tension building up between Taiwan and China. So China is allegedly, rumors are circulating that they will implement a no-fly zone over Taiwan. And this is in anticipation of a visit from Nancy Pelosi. And so if they enforce that or impose that no-fly zone over Taiwan, and Nancy Pelosi goes and visits Taiwan, that could spark something. That would be the opportunity for war to begin on another front. And we already know that tensions are building up there. The United States is sort of provoking it. Some people in the EU are provoking it too. And we know that, maybe you don't know, but definitely the United States, definitely NATO will not be able to fight on two fronts. They will lose drastically. I mean, for instance, the U.S. military is already struggling to find new recruits because nobody wants to serve in the military. And that's not a bad thing. The people are waking up. They shouldn't want to serve a military that doesn't serve them. It doesn't serve their nation. It's a ludicrous, it's just ludicrous to think that the military is doing anything good for you nowadays. And so we are seeing that build up right now. And we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But tensions in the Southeast China or Southeast Asian seas are building up as we speak, and they have been building up for years. This is something that many people have been unaware of, but for the past 4 years or probably more, there have been tensions rising in the region. Now everybody's talking about, oh, this is the fifth arm deal that U.S. is doing with China, but they were doing these arm deals back in 2017, 2018, if memory serves. Actually, it may have been like more so 2019, actually, that these deals were going on. So this tension's been building up for 3-4 years, probably longer on this military front. But China has also wanted to take back Taiwan since Taiwan became its own thing, right? When the Nationalist Party fled China because they lost to the Communist Party during the war that was taking place there. They then formed Taiwan, consider that to be the real China. We all know that that really isn't the case. But then China, Mao, and Stalin were working on a plan to take back Taiwan way back in the day. Didn't work out. Here we are today. Taiwan is probably going to go back to China, and hopefully it'll go back in a peaceful way. Hopefully it won't involve the same scale of conflict that is taking place in Ukraine and Russia, right? Because that is just insane. China's absolutely right in regards to that. They're like, yo, The United States is provoking it. NATO is provoking it. Maybe you guys should just have a ceasefire. Ukraine, accept you lost some land. It is what it is. At least you can be half a country, right? Instead of losing all of your country, which is what they're on pace to do, unfortunately. It's not something that we want to brag about or anything, but it is just the way it is. And it doesn't mean that I'm sympathetic to the Russians. It doesn't mean that I'm a fan of Putin, any of these things. I'm just objectively reporting what is going on. And China has the right opinion in that matter. And the U.S. is just, not doing the best it could be doing. So that's something you need to pay attention to, I think, that's going on over, this past week. And then, we have Russia meeting with Saudi Arabia, talk about some oil. And then you get Russia basically stating, if you put a cap on the oil prices, we ain't selling you oil. So that's pretty huge. And then there was a deal that was signed by Russia and Ukraine to export grains, which was a huge concern of many people because of the famine that appears to be coming our way. And then one last thing that I wanted to touch on before we get out of here is going to be the FedEx ground to drop Sunday deliveries. And the reason they were going to drop Sunday deliveries in certain markets is because of population, not enough demand. And I think that what is going to be taking place over time, especially as our economy, hey, how's it going? Especially as our economy is on the decline, is this. Many places, especially in the United States, will be shut probably down on Sundays. That's what I'm thinking, right? We're going to go back to like the 1950s, 1940s, where it wasn't 24/7 access to anything you wanted, but rather selective times to where you can get what you need, what you want. And that is the direction it appears we're heading. I'm thinking FedEx is serving as a kind of, canary in the coal mine in that regards. So it is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Let's see here. We got somebody that wants to join. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? All right. So, yeah, that's that. That's pretty much all that I was going to cover today. Obviously, the live chat isn't as popping as it usually is because, well, MOT today, MOT News, we're doing the live streams there almost every day. Get a decent size audience, get a decent size interaction. There's a lot of regulars that show up there. So we'll just have to build up the online presence here for MOT Media. But so thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe everywhere. MOT Media, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff, where you can find us. And much love. Peace.